Very critical point that shall be that to know from the beginning how small patient, and if you are going for full arch, to go with a FP3 or for a FP1. Now let's go on. I would like to share with you immediate loading for full arch situations. Dr. Lam will explain you the organ 4, organ 5, so we'll focus about, again, how to push the limit to make immediate loading, and I let Dr. Lam to explain you in detail the protocol for the full arch restoration with immediate loading. So, let's have a look to this case. A few years ago, this patient was 57 years ago, 15 years old, and she was totally edentulous at the maxilla, but also at the lower jaw. And that's how his X-rays, panoramic looks like. You can see that it's a little special because when you are edentulous for a long time, of course you have a very important bone resorption. That's what you are going to see on the CBCT. That's how the lower jaw looks like. That's the clinical view. And that's how the CBCT looks like. And you can see that the bone is very, very thin. It's a sharp edge. You could cut broad with that. So thin it is. So how can we help her to avoid a delayed approach? Why? Because when you have a full arch edentulous, and if you need a delayed approach with bone reconstruction, with bone augmentation, it's very, very, very difficult to manage the temporary and the temporization. So how can we avoid it? How can we avoid a denture that will push on your bone graft and maybe break all your work? On the posterior areas, it seems to be pretty good. But when you are going in the front area, between the mental nerves and the symphysis area, we have a very poor bone. Look. It's very thin. And it's again behind the mental nerves, better because we still have a bone volume that allows us to work. So, that's the first point. Second point, the planification. Until the digital workflow, my protocol was to make a full denture with a groove, and this denture had three objectives, three goals. The first one, it was a template to put the implant in a good position. It helped me to make the impression, I use it as a tray, direct in this prosthesis, to transform it in fixed prosthesis. And it's also the planification. I can test it and show how it will be, the aesthetic results before doing the surgery. So we're trying, that's the training. And look, that's very important. That's the reason when I told you I'm coaching for practitioners, and they often come to my clinic and they tell me, oh, they come with a CBCT. Do you think I can do this case, or do you want to do it, or can I do it, and so on? And they show me the case with the CBCT, and I tell them, where are the pictures? Where is the panoramic? I just have a CBCT. And I don't know where are the teeth, or how can you make a planification without a whole view of the case? And look here, there's a train of this template, and look the top of the crest. The top of the crest is at the level at the half of the teeth. In this case, I need to put an implant bone level, then a multi-unit abutment, then a cylinder, and then the process. I need high. If the top of the implant is already at the middle of the teeth, it's catastrophic. That means that the prosthetic leads to surgery. That means that we need to remove bone in high to have the implant in good positions. That's a critical point. Let's have a look. That's how the crest looks like, and I have to remove in high for the future processes. No choice. I will do an osteoplasty, but classically, I take a handpiece with a ball, I remove the bone, then I put the implant. Classic. In this case, I will change my protocol. I will use a microsaw. Look how it looks like. And I will remove with a microsaw the excess of bone in high. We cut it. Okay? All along of the ridge crest. And then, with a bone chisel and hammer, touch. And you remove this bone block. In one surgery, you have done a bone regularization and a bone harvesting, because that won't go too much. Of course, I will keep it. Now, the crest was like that. I cut it here, so I gained width, of course. We'll now put the implants. 4 implants, bone level implants. Here, these are regular. And then we put the multi-unit abutment. Look, now we are in the prosthetic corridor, and it's very important to be careful when you put the implant in such a surgery, classical point 4, to be in the prosthetic corridor. If you are too lingual, you will have a very, very wide prosthesis, and the patient with the tongue will say, it's not comfortable, doctor. So it's very important to be the most nearer of the teeth, not to have a too wide prosthesis. That's the first point. And the second point, when you put the multi-unit abutment, you look the level regarding the collet of the future prosthesis to be sure that you are below, under the collet of the teeth of the future prosthesis. Not to have another contour if you are too high. That's a critical point. We put the implants, and in the anterior areas, you can see we have a bone loss, and although we did an osteoplasty, the width is not enough. So we put the implants, we have a good primary stability, and we talked about it. And then, on the right side, with bone loss, On the left, it is cracked. But remember what I said about the blood supply? It's a thin bone. If I don't augment it here, I will lose it because of the blood supply. So, I have a lot of bone that I removed. I will split it, I will cut it, and I will screw it. And I put 2 little bone grafts to augment the bone at the same time. It's done. The job is done. Now we just need to make an immediate loading. That's how it looks like. And now we have the time. Most often, when patients come for the lower jaw, which is always the priority, because full removable denture are less comfortable at the lower jaw than at the upper jaw. Of course, because of the tongue, because the crest is just very thin, you don't have a palate to support, to stabilize the denture. So they always start with the lower jaw. But when they have a fixed prosthesis in the lower jaw, they say, "Doctor, can you do the same at the maximum?" Okay. So she wants to go further. That's how it looks like after the surgery. And now she's already happy, but now she said, "Now I want to change the aesthetic of my upper jaw." Okay, let's go on. It's another approach, and of course, I go back, it's just a panoramic X-ray, but you always say that except of enough bone width, we cannot put implant because we see the bone is too thin. If the bone is okay, you can make classical 0.4 to avoid the sinus with tilted implants. Dr. Lam will show you that. In this case, she has hope and she has emotion, and now we'll discuss about another concept, which is the progressive loading. That's the opposite of the immediate loading. What is it? Look at the bone. You have the bone. No high here, no width here. This case, even me, I cannot make immediate loading. So we need to augment, to manage with a temporary full denture, and that's how we work. We'll see that on another case, but we use allogenic bone, human bone. You can buy that in France, blocks that you buy, blocks from the femoral head, and you can fix them and increase the width of the crest. Of course, sinus lift in both sides, and let it heal about 5 months. The removable denture must be transformed. Of course, you have to remove all the atrial in the buccal part to avoid a compression of your bone grafts. If you have a pressure like that, it will make a big resorption, maybe an infection, and you will lose your bone. So that's the deal. The patient must know that when you start to manage such a case, I tell them you enter in a difficult period during several months. You won't eat correctly. You need to remove your denture when you are at home, when you sleep. You just put it when you need to smile with other people, but at home you remove it. And when you eat, you remove it. You have heard, you remove it to eat. It's not possible to stabilize full denture about an arch with a bone augmentation. Not possible. You cannot eat with that. That means maybe no restaurant during 9 months. They must know that at the beginning. That's the terms. Okay. Then putting the implants in submerged technique in time, then uncovering them, then putting the abutment. That's other abutment that I changed this one because I don't like that. But anyway, if you don't, it's not available in Vietnam. So well, it's like multi-lead. And at this time, we can have a prosthetic a fixed temp, because we let it, the healing abutment during about 3 months. And then with the denture and with the tongue, she now has been allowed, by putting silicone into it, she's allowed to eat slowly to make a bone stimulation. That's what Carnish called progressive loading. So you make a stimulation of the implant, you increase the osseointegration, you increase the bone density, and then you will be able to load this implant after several months. And that's how it looks like with the temp. And look what I told you. You can see the cylinder, but you can see that here is the collet, cosmetic gingiva, and only that the multi-lead is higher. I'm correct in the vertical position of my implant regarding the prosthetic corridor. And I see sometimes cases where the implant is not high enough, and they are obliged to over-contour the acute gingiva with the cosmetic gingiva for aesthetic reasons, and then cannot clean, and it's not good for the long-term results. The follow-up is not good. Okay. Then we change multi-lead at the maxilla tool and impression and the case, classical case that will be shown by the Tonam, and don't will take too much time to show that. Okay. This case is to explain you the approach and to show the key point of such restoration, because from the beginning we know where we have our emergence profile, where we have the collect of the teeth, and where we need to place and to position our implants to be really good regarding the prosthesis. Okay? Classical, okay, she's happy. And it will be okay, that's my last case, I will finish with that. This patient came to me